you know what? Maybe this is a good thing. And
I have a confession to make. I love lace-up clothing. Specifically when I'm sewing, I hate putting in zippers. I hate making buttonholes, but getting to cut small circles into fabric and just hand sew some eyelets, the epitome of peace, honestly. And it looks good. And depending on how you're feeling in that day, you can make it a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. If you're feeling bloated, if you're feeling, what's the opposite of bloated? I've been wanting to make a lace-up dress for a really long time for that reason, and I finally found a pattern online that I think could be the perfect starting point. I could draft these pieces if I wanted to, but honestly, I find it a lot easier and honestly a lot more fun to take a pattern that already exists and change it in the ways that I want to change it. And I also thought that'd be nice that if other people want to do that too, if you want to start sewing, if you've been using patterns for a while and you kind of want to maybe take it up to the next step, this would be a way to start. Maybe, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm very good at teaching things on here, but you can at least see the process of what I'm doing. Maybe? I just thought this might help some people, and it sounds really fun for me at the same time. So in this video, we're going to be taking a pattern that already exists and changing it into more of a fantasy-inspired dress. Something that I could wear on a daily basis if I wanted to, but if you drop me in the middle of a fantasy land, a la The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, I wouldn't stand out like a sore thumb. I'd kind of fit in. That's the vibe we're going for. So let's get to the design. Okay, so here's my thoughts for the design. Over on this side is the original pattern, and I'll also pop that somewhere up on the screen so you can see it a little bit bigger. But as you can see, there are no lacings to be found. I'm going to fix that by adding 3 different areas of lacing. I want to actually expand these kind of princess seam-esque areas of the bodice and the skirt by anywhere from 2 to 3 inches so that it could be a much looser dress, or I could lace it on both sides and have it be nice and fitted. I would also love, if I can, we'll see how possible this is, I would love to have a slight V at center front. I just think that looks nice and flattering, just a personal preference. I am also going to take away this ruffle. I'm trying to conserve as much fabric as possible because I don't think I've said it before this point, but I'm using a thrifted sheet and pillow to make this dress. So I just want to conserve as much fabric as I can, and I just don't feel like the ruffle is absolutely necessary for my design. What I am going to add, however, are these 2 little cord gathering sections at the front of the skirt, to where when it is released, it is a completely full skirt, or I could take them up and gather them and rouge them and then tie them at whatever length I want to, on one side, on both sides. And I just think that will make for some nice variety, like almost making this into a semi-convertible dress, almost, but not really. If I want to, the last 2 changes I'm going to make is, first, I'm going to take out the shirring from this center back section. I know, who am I? I have no clue. I love shirring usually, but again, I am trying to conserve fabric. Yeah, that's the only explanation I have for that one. And lastly, what I will add though is this nice lace tie at the back. I think this will make for just a better defined waist than just like a tie, and the lacing is just cool. I like it. The very last thing, oh no, there's 2 more things. Hello, I made so many changes. See, this is why I drew this. I don't usually draw my designs when I change a pattern. There's just so many changes here, I felt the need to draw it out. If I can, there is this cute pleated detail at one end of the sheet, and I'm hoping that I can use that for at least part of the hem. I think that would be really pretty, and we'll see how possible that is. And I'm also going to make a real cuff and probably make the sleeve a little puffier. I just think that looks nicer. All right, I think I have all the design things out of the way. Let's get to changing the pattern and cutting out the fabric. The first step was to cut out the pattern pieces. I started with the top pieces on the pillowcase and extended those front side pieces for the lacing areas. And right about here, you see me make a huge mistake, which is I did not make the front pieces into a V shape. Yeah, I'll realize that a bit later. Then I made the skirt pieces both fuller and longer because that skirt definitely doesn't have enough volume for my liking. And I separated the front skirt section into two, both for volume reasons and for the lacings, which I'll explain more why I had to do that in a bit.
LOL, just kidding. I just realized that the eyelets on this very thin fabric might not actually work as well as I want them to. So I think the better thing is to like make little loops, there's probably a much more technical term for that, out of the leftover fabric and have the lacing go through that instead of eyelets, but I'll keep the eyelets in the back. I just realized that that might not be the best way for like very thin fabric on the front, I think. Okay, there we go. Change of plans.
So the last step of the day was quickly making a bunch of rectangles for the loops for the lacing.
I just realized that I didn't cut out the V at center front like I wanted. I even drew it out so that I'd remember. You know what? Maybe this is a good thing. It would have been a bad thing. Maybe it would have been a mess. Maybe it would have caused problems. And maybe it's better that I just did it this way. What you don't know can't hurt you. That is provably untrue. Who said that first? Who came up with that saying? I'm gonna sew the loops, and then I think I'm gonna start putting the bodice together because I don't know if I need the whole back piece that I cut out. Okay, let's get to it.
So, picking up where I left off, I sewed all of the tabs and turned them right side out again, and I realized they looked like those weird blue Takis I kept getting commercials for on YouTube. Spot the difference. I then realized I hadn't cut my bodice into enough pieces for the lacings, so I cut a couple of inches off the center front piece and side front pieces for the tabs to be sandwiched in between them. I then cut out 4 long U shapes for the back waistbands, that would be 2 for each side, and slapped some interfacing on there to give the pieces a bit more structure. And the rest of the day I just focused on putting that bodice together.
Good morning. So, where are we? We are here. The top part is basically finished. I mean, it's not. Sleeves always take a while for me, but like, sans the sleeves. Sans the sleeves. I got a lot done. I got a lot done. I knew it was time to stop because I kept getting the front yoke on one side wrong. I got it wrong 3 times, but I knew it was time to stop. The second I start making mistakes is the second I stop enjoying the sewing process. So the next thing I want to do is I want the bodice to be finished. I like looking at finished products. I don't like seeing a lot of unfinished things. That makes me anxious. So today I'm going to work on the sleeves and the facings that I made for this top so that that can all be completed, and then I'll start working on the skirt. I don't know how far I'll get today. I know I'll at least get the sleeves done. Let's do it!
Then it was time to work on the sleeves. I actually gathered it the correct way for once. Wow. That's where you do 3 gathering/basting stitches about 1/8 to 1/4 inch away from each other near the stitch line. This just helps make those gathers nice and even. And then of course I made a mistake with the sleeves where I sewed one inside out. So I just removed the stitches around that specific area and re-stitched it to the right side. Not perfect, but I was not going to take out that entire sleeve. I then gathered the bottom of the sleeves and attached those to the sleeve cuffs. I literally just finished my sleeve and my bobbin thread ran out. Perfect timing. I hath been blessed on this day. I then did the facings for the bodice, and let me tell you, I did not do this correctly. For the yoke sections, I should have just self-lined those areas and then just done facings for the center front and center back. But oh well, you live and learn. I then cut out the extra sections for the lacings on the skirt, just like I did for the bodice, and started putting that skirt together. I then decided to put actual grommets in instead of eyelets. I just knew that would be a bit faster. I'm eating a snack so that my fun meter goes up. Last step. Sorry if I'm speaking low. There's people like literally right outside my room. I have made a channel out of some leftover scrap fabric, and what I'm doing is sewing it, just like hand stitching it to the inside of the skirt and then putting the cords inside, and then it does that. So I have one more to do and then I'm done. Hallelujah. And once again, thanks to autofocus for just trying a bit too hard to do your job. But with that, here is the final result. Moving quickly. Oh, that's my dog. What was that? What was that? That was literally right next to me. Oh my goodness. It's like I have to time this. It's so... Stay not humid, please. Okay, run. Run. There's literally a bird right next to me. He's right in that little back tree. He's kind of hanging out like he's kind of mad that I'm here. I'll move in a second, I promise. It's humid. So I didn't cut any of my thread tails until the last step, and then one of my grommets fell off the back of my dress right before I was set to start filming. So if you saw either of those things, either a loose grommet or a thread tail,
No, you didn't. So let's go through some final thoughts. I'm pretty happy with how this dress came out. I like the amount of swoosh and volume I added to the skirt. I like that I have a lot of options for how I can wear this skirt. When I wear it with like an underskirt and boots, it looks more fantasy. I feel like if I were just to wear it with like sandals or not athletic sneakers, it would just kind of look like a really unique modern outfit. So yay. A couple of things that I would change slash will keep in my brain for future projects is one, I wish I had made the lacings wider on the front pieces. Like I wish I would have had them going from like side front to back, like this whole area instead of just like a very small area at front. I just don't think it made enough of an impact. I just feel like because of that, I only really have styling options with the skirt. However, I was able to put that little pleating detail from the sheet onto the bottom edge of my dress. I couldn't do it all the way to the front, but I got most of the way around. I will definitely be on the lookout for details like that. I think that it just reduced hemming time by so much. I really enjoyed making this dress and I hope you had a good time watching. That is gonna be it for me this week. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. And I hope to see you back here next time.